Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today we're tapping into the wholesome as life's too short for bad beer or bad vibes. I'm Joanne and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. So this was your idea today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because we had the episode where we were like, well, let's just pull weird stories from the internet to go with our weird beer.
Mm-hmm.
But then also I think like we have had so much, there's just been so much busyness and chaos that it's so easy to get burnt out. Like burnout is so real. And we're like, what can we record an episode about? And it's also like having the time to properly plan some stuff when we're in the midst of a fire. And I thought, like, I could literally just use some feel-good stories. And this kind of spouted as well from the first article that we'll talk about, because I think that's a good way to get into it. We'll talk about it in a minute. But the first article is what kind of was like, these are the kind of stories I want to hear about. Just wholesome, nice stories that are related to beer. They don't have to be like specifically about a beer or a business or anything. We're just leaning into the wholesome today, so that way you can be like, let me just listen to something nice that makes me smile. So yeah,
we're going to put Dr. Doom and Gloom's going to go away. She's not coming out today.
Yeah, even there's like one article I found that was like kind of ended it a little bit sad, but then also kind of didn't. So I was like, that's fine. This one still counts because I want to talk about this one. So again, like I said, they're not even necessary. Some of them are just like Reddit stories that someone shared that I went, oh, that's nice. And I thought we could pepper in a bit of conversation in between. It's just a nice way to still talk about beer, but also not have the stress and fatigue, because I just genuinely, my brain, some of these days, my brain can't really cope. I'm in so much, I will say as well, at the time of recording this, I'm in so much pain. I literally went back to aerial hoop.
I was about to be like, why? Time. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did see that.
Emotional pain, physical pain. First time in a year. And my whole body just feels like it is one underused, bruised muscle. So there is that. And then like work is busy and there's so much going on. Like my brain hurts. I said to Rick, I had a headache the other day and I was like, I have a headache. It was over the weekend. I was like, I have a headache. Also, my body is sore and yeah, everything. So I was like, I've got about from like the shoulders to like my hips. My torso is basically all I have that's not in imminent pain. But even that's ruined now because now my arms hurt. Oh. So I was like, about a sixth of my body that feels okay.
Okay.
How about you? How are you doing? Let's check in on the burn levels for you. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm tired. Like equally, work is a lot at the moment. There's some projects that we're working on that like are gonna be really great, but you know the path there is rocky. But we're gonna climb those summits and get there. It's gonna be really good. I'm starting to think about harvest time, which is always a busy season, but a good season. I was saying to you just before we started recording, I spent a little bit of time rearranging my bookshelves at the weekend and they look great. So I'm very pleased about that.
That's great though, isn't it? It's like when you talk about, because I've done like mental health first aiders training and stuff like that as well. And it's kind of like, you know, you can't, when the glass is full, it spills over if you keep pouring. So it's like, what do you do to decompress? And for you is definitely rearranging your bookshelves.
Rearranging my bookshelves. I spent a bunch of time reading at the weekend. It was great. Do you know what? I'm getting back into swimming.
I literally thought you were dead gonna be like, I'm getting back into smut. When you were talking about
it,
and I literally was like, girl, when did you leave the smut? When did you leave the smut to get back into it? But it's because it started with the S. I thought you were like, I'm getting back into smut. And I was like, and then you're like, swimming.
Yeah. So I started going lane swimming as often as I can, because often events and other commitments get in the way of me being able to go. But I've been trying to go, like, my plan was I was trying to do like what at least once a month. And I've managed to get in 2 to 3 times a month. So I started back in November. And I've I've kind of got up to about 3 times a month. And yeah, I do lane swimming. I just stay in the slow lane. I think I was telling
You
you,
stay in your lane.
I
You
just
know,
stay in my
you're
slow
like, stay in
lane.
my
And
lane.
like, I was talking to someone the other day about it, and I was like, I just swim in the slow lane. And they were like, yeah, like whenever I'm swimming, like in lane swimming, when you're in, public pool with other people, like sometimes my brain is like, oh no, am I too slow for them? Like, do I need to hurry up? Blah, 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 blah. Am I going the right direction? Because you have to go round the right way. And actually, if you're in the slow lane, like there are other lanes, my dude. It's like when you're driving down the motorway, right? If you were just
Get in
in
the
the
other
slow
lane.
lane, get in the slow lane. There are other lanes. Everyone can go around you if they don't like it.
I don't think legally you can say that because there's no slow lane and fast lane. Everyone's like that. We should all be traveling the speed limit.
Yes, but you can in the slow lane you can
5.
go slower, right? Like so you can be
No,
at
but
60.
you can't go too slow.
No, you
Because if
can't
you
go
drive
too
slow, that's also a hazard. So we're like,
Indeed.
we can't legally promote that, but it is a fast and slow lane, isn't it?
Either way, there are other lanes if you don't like swimming behind me. But actually, I'm not that slow. But like, I'm never going to
It's
be
not a
like
race,
an
though,
Olympic,
is it?
right? No, and I'm never going to be like an Olympic swimmer or anything. But I just enjoy it. And the pool, I go to our local pool, and it's like when I learnt to swim, I learnt at the pool at the town where I lived, and now I'm at a different one. And when I started, the pool in the town where I grew up is actually on the way back from work. So when I started, I was doing it in that one, because it worked. If I was in the office on a Thursday, I could swing by that swimming pool, do my swimming, and then come home. But I'm now kind of, the weekend seems to be a better time to fit it in, so I'm doing it at the pool that's closer to my house. And that the pool that is in the town that I grew up in, and it's the pool that I learnt to swim in. Like, it's quite well established. Like, people know what they're doing. They know what direction they're going in. They know to get out of each other's way.
They know how to
like
pull.
they know the unsaid rules of what's going on here, and it's the etiquette is great and followed. The pool that I'm in now is, I really like the pool. People are slightly feral.
That's stressing me out thinking
they will just
about
kind of
that.
do what they want. And I've at first I was like, I don't know if I like this, because like people aren't getting the etiquette. Like, what's your problem? like But what I decided is, actually it's fine, because then it doesn't matter what I do, because everyone's just doing what they want.
Yeah, no, because no one gets.
So,
if you're just be equally feral,
Right.
match their energy.
Right, so
be
I'm
like,
just
I'm
like,
going
I'll
to
do
go
what
as
I
slow
want.
as I
So-
want, and then I might speed up and then slow down. Like,
So there's only 2 pools. So there's like a small pool, which tends to be the lessons. It tends to be like the kids' pool and the lessons pool, and then the main pool where they set the lanes up. They will set up more or less lanes depending on what's going on. So sometimes the first section that you get to when you come out from the changing rooms is actually just called Just Swim. And sometimes it's set up as lanes because the other end will be like the other end of the pool will be lanes. So sometimes it's completely divided up into lanes, because this pool is also set up for like swimming galas and competitions and stuff. So you can completely lane it up, or you can take it's like a string of buoys that they pull out and put up, and so they can take those down and cut you down to a certain number of lanes, and then there's an open chunk that's just swim.
just swim, just hang out,
just swimming. Yeah, you just swimming. Like, so it's not necessarily lanes. Like, people do also sometimes use it as a lane space.
Yeah, but then you can't get mad. But then you can't get
Right.
mad if somebody's not
So you
doing a
can't.
lane. If they're just floating
However-
about, doggy paddling.
Right, if they're just messing about, like if you want to do that and you don't want to get in the lane,
But if
fine.
everyone's feral, do what you want to do.
right,
Where you want to do it.
right. So when it's laned out, it does then say what type of lane it is. So whether it's the slow, the medium, or the fast, and which direction you're supposed to be going in. There's like a little diagram that shows you which direction you should be swimming in. However, because that just swim area is sometimes just swim and sometimes a lane. Sometimes when it's a lane and it is marked out as a lane, people still come and just sit on the outside and put their feet in. So you're like trying to swim along and there's this person's just like boop. And someone's coming from the other direction towards you, and you've got to kind of get past this person's feet, and then they look at you, you're like, what are you doing? And then they're like, oh, it's a lane. And then some people will just hang out at one end and get in the way. My favorite was the day that two people were trying to swim next to each other and have a conversation in like a single lane.
I don't even understand how you could swim and chat like that.
Right? I was just like, I don't know what you two are doing. Like, if you wanted to just, I was like, cool, do what you want, but like, I'm trying to swim in the other direction, the direction that I'm supposed to be swimming in. I'm following the diagram. Like, yeah, so
mystery feet popping out of nowhere. That's got to take you by surprise.
Yeah, just someone just suddenly like, because I think there's also a sauna. So I think people like if you've got a gym membership,
they treat it like it's a spa.
And so then they just kind of come and put their feet in to cool off. And I'm like, this is a lane. This is not just swim.
I think that's why I probably couldn't do, like, I love swimming. I love being in water. I love all of that. I don't think that I could do the whole like swimming in a lane thing or like that. I just think I can't be contained. I can't be contained by rules and lanes.
You'd be in the just swim being feral.
I'd be in the just swim. I actually would. I'm not going to defend it, but I'm not going to argue against it. Like, yeah, I would be, but I'd still be doing lanes, but like in a feral way like, I just feel like stopping now.
Yeah.
Like halfway swimming and then being like, well, that was fun. I'm going to do a somersault now.
And you get told off by the lifeguard for that.
Well, yeah, okay, no fun in the swim lanes. Just swim. I'd be like, is there or is there not rules? Is there not rules in the just swim lane?
Right. And then like, yeah, it is. I enjoy it because I like going backwards and forth. Like I like knowing how many. Like I work out how many I want to do. Like what distance I want to do. And at first I was like, how many lengths can I do? Because it had been like the first time I was like, whew, probably been about 20, 30 years since I'd properly done swimming, like properly, like not just kind of messing about in the water, like properly, like I'm swimming lengths, probably about 30 years. And then I was like, oh, this is tough. And now I'm like, I got to a point where I was like, how many can I do in the time that I've got? And now I'm like, right, I'm going to do
PBs,
30 lengths. And I'm trying to see if I can get my pace up is what I'm working on at the moment.
Nice.
And my pace has significantly increased since that like first time in November because the old Apple Watch tracks it for me. So
do you wear your watch in the pool? I think I get too stressed. Even though mine's waterproof, I don't have an Apple Watch.
You have to make sure you've turned it on. Turned on the water lock.
I don't have an Apple one, but I would get too stressed and I'd just be like, I can't, even with a water lock on, I'd be like, no. That's it's fine. Like when they make cameras to go in water and then you watch people use them and you're like, you've paid for this camera so that it can be waterproof. And I'm like, but don't use it like that. That's insane. That's actually insane. Yeah, I think I love swimming, but for me, my brain gets bored doing back and forth. I can't do lanes because I get bored. And I think I'd be like, I could do this many back and forths, but I'd be like, best not though. We could do somersaults instead.
I quite like it because it lets me
be feral.
It lets me switch my brain off.
Just
concentrating on like getting to one end and getting back again. So
yeah. See, I'd switch off my thinking brain, and then my non-thinking brain would be like, it would just be like
what you
doing?
Concert
in my head that's like, what are we doing now?
Going backwards and forwards? That's boring. Let's do something else.
Why do we want to do that? We could turn this into a different kind of game. It's like jigsaw in my head. Do you want to play a game not swimming in lengths? And I'd be like, yeah, I could probably do this in a different way maybe. And meanwhile, everyone else around me is like, just do the lengths.
It is when you get like the people that are like trying to pretend that they're Olympic swimmers. That's my favorite. I'm just like, but they're always in like the medium or the fast lane. I'm just like, my dude, calm yourself.
Let them enjoy themselves. I'll be doing my somersaults in the group swim and getting told off for being feral. That's fine. Yeah, I just feel like I've been girl bossing too hard, and I just can't girl boss anymore. I said that to her. I said I can't girl boss anymore. Me and Phelan, we're done girl bossing. If I'm honest, we're done bossing, girl bossing, every kind of bossing. So yeah, I think this general chat is needed. Hopefully, people will leave here with a smile. Maybe swim chat's not their thing, but hopefully some of these stories will be there. So hopefully one of these stories will be their thing. So should we start with basically the whole reason when we were like, that's a really nice story, we should talk about that one?
Do we want to talk about what we're drinking first?
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, I've just been sipping away at it, and same. I've turned off my intelligent brain, the little intelligent brain that I had, and it's shut off for my what are we doing, guys, brain.
Do you want to know what I'm drinking?
Yeah.
So I am drinking, and I've tried to theme my beers to kind of like feel good stuff, like things that people are doing that are great within beer. So I am drinking Track with Me Luna, their International Women's Day 2026 beer. And this is called Sheets of Clouds, and it's a Mexican cinnamon dark mild.
That sounds so good.
I've got you one.
I wasn't going to ask because if you said no, I was going to cry. Because when you told me about it, it sounded so good. I didn't even know that was one. And then when you were like, did you get that one for us? And I was like, no, that one was a bit.
I was like, I will get it. So Me Luna is a project by Breeze Galindo. And she's trying to build a Brooklyn-based brewery rooted in her Mexican heritage with a commitment to diversity and inclusion in craft beer. I met Breeze when I was over in Yakima, and like she is a force of nature. Like she is out here doing the work, doing the thing, like changing people's minds, saying what needs to be said, and I love her. But the brewery's not built yet, so she's been brewing with other people, and so I hadn't had a chance to actually get one of her beers. So then when I saw that Track had done a beer with her brewery, I was like, that's the Me Luna, right? I'm gonna buy one of those. And then when it was Mexican cinnamon, I was like, and Tori needs one of those too.
Yeah, you were like, is this the one you got? Is this one with cinnamon in it? And I was like, no, because obviously I would have gotten that if I even knew that existed.
Yeah.
So
I'll have you it's so good. Like the cinnamon
you loving it?
Is so good. This is exactly what I needed tonight. And you know, some of this will go towards the good causes that that Tracker working towards for their International Women's Day, and then it'll go towards the building of Me Luna. And yeah, like Breeze is on a mission to be a recognized Latina-owned business and to really champion Latina, BIPOC people in the craft beer community, women in the community, and I love that.
We need more. I literally hadn't even heard of them when you were like, did you get this beer? And I was like, no. And then you were like, oh, and you were like, I've been wanting to try one of their beers. So yeah, I guess one for the radar for 2026 and beyond. So you probably themed a lot better than I did because I really struggled. I was like, this whole episode is kind of like wholesome stories that kind of just make you go, and you have like a feel good after it, or just a nice warming story. And I was like, what do I actually have to pair with that? And I kind of went the opposite. I was like, I didn't want to go like, I'm going to go for a charity beer or something like that, because I was like, that felt like it was going to be too on the nose to do that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to find something that is different, because I have so many International Women's Day beers. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But then I went, but what am I going to do? And I feel like everyone knows the real wholesomeness is the friends we made along the way. So for me, the one that I'm drinking is my Sam Adams Oktoberfest
Ah,
because I felt like, what is more wholesome? When I when I was googling wholesome stories,
yeah.
I sent you a message that was like googling wholesome beer stories, and somehow the last hit on the first search page of Google was just a link to our podcast. And I was like, oh,
Yay.
that's nice. And it didn't mention anything about wholesomeness or anything. And I was like, I don't know how that came up, but that's nice. And I sent that to you, and I was just thinking, like, what actually is wholesome? It's like when we travel places and we're getting beer, it's never, I never feel like this, whether this is how you feel or not, but I don't get the feeling from you, and I don't feel this way of like, I'm just buying beer for myself.
Oh
It's
no.
always like, I'm buying beer and I have to make sure that I get you at least, like when I go play, I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to at least bring home no less than at least one beer.
Yeah, at least one beer.
But then it becomes a difficult choice. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, and I guess I'll also get that one.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll also get that one. Or like, oh, we could use this one. And so I think that's the wholesome value, is like when we're going places, just like that thinking of another person that you're like, they would love this and I need to get them this beer.
I walked around the corner in a grocery store in Yakima and found the 6-pack of Oktoberfest and went, yoink. And it's one of my favourite beers. And I didn't go, yoink, that's for me. I went, yoink, that's for me and Tori.
Like, it's a message of, look what I found.
Yeah.
3 are yours. I've got a 6-pack, 3 are yours, 3 are mine.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to have
Without
that
question.
one, because we all know that the most wholesome is the friends we've made along the way. So that's why I've gone with that one.
I love it.
And it tastes good. And I was like, I just want something that's so, I've got another beer that I've got as well, but I was like, this is going to be my first one, because that is just, it's easy drinking. I know I like it. I know it's going to just hit the right spot. It's going to scratch that itch for calming the brain. So yeah, should we share the first story then?
Yes.
Got the first story,
please.
So this first story, this is a much more recent. A lot of the other things that I found today are not as recent, but this one is very recent. It's from earlier this month. 2026 is when I first, probably, I think I saw a news article like a month ago, but then the article that I pulled from BBC is from the beginning of May. And I had talked to you about this at one point in time. It's about Pints and Ponytails.
Oh yes, I love
and
this.
It's that I'm not going to talk about the thing that we laughed about. That's like the negative, not about them, but the negative story that came out that then uses really like, I'm not going to talk about that side, because we're not even going to focus on the haters. We're not even focusing on the haters.
Haters going to hate, and we're going to ignore
haters going to hate, potatoes going to potate, and we're not going to focus on that. So good vibes only. So I'm just going to talk about their thing. But Pints and Ponytails was the story about the dads that get together at the pub and learn how to braid hair. And I just thought it was really nice. So it started by the secret. I think that there's been other events potentially that have happened that have similar names, but this one was started by Secret Life's a Dad podcast hosts. The podcast focused on, I guess, from reading this article, we'll share all the articles and all the links to everything that we're talking about today. But the events, or at least the podcast, kind of span from a place where these two dads, they realized that they were kind of dealing with postnatal depression as new parents as well. And they were like, well, there's more of a space and acceptance for when mums have that feeling of not connecting with a baby and not settling into like their motherhood, which that's not to say that everyone has that welcoming situation, but it's almost more expected that the mum might need support in those situations. And there's a lot more places for women to go for those type of feelings and conversations. And like from the men's perspective, like they didn't feel they had as many places to go to have those kind of conversations. And so presumably that's why they started this podcast, to talk about those type of aspects in the spaces they didn't necessarily have. But the events then came about as they realized like they didn't know how to do their daughter's hair. So I thought it was really interesting, and it made me smile, and it made me feel really, really wholesome. So not only can we post the BBC article, but we can post a link to the Eventbrite where you can buy the tickets, because I think they're based out of, so the events are in London, but I believe, if I read the article correctly, they originally started in Manchester.
Okay.
So I don't know if these events kind of go all over, or if it is literally just like London only at this point. I don't know. But yeah, so this, looking at the Eventbrite, I thought I'd just share some of the Eventbrite details. So there's 2 events. The first one's just Pints and Ponytails, and the event details are that it's hosted in London. It's one that already happened in the past because it's March. But it says an evening with the after the viral success of our first event, Pints and Ponytails returns. An evening bringing dads together to learn how to braid hair in the safe hands of the incredible braid maidens who will guide you from completing beginner to confident plat pro. Your ticket includes a full lesson, lucky saint drinks throughout the evening, and the chance to meet a brilliant group of dads doing the same. Please arrive in the main bar from 6:30 and the lesson begins at 9. And it says this is a non-profit event created to support and connect dads. So I thought that was really nice as well. The added bonus of that is like it includes Lucky Saint drinks throughout the night, which is, if you don't know what Lucky Saint is, they're no low alcohol. It's a lager. And so I also thought that was really nice because it's like, it's not necessarily just a bunch of people going and getting pissed together in a pub and having a conversation. It's like you're bonding over, like, yes, there's a pint there, but it's also like an alcohol-free beer that you're bonding over. And actually, I think Lucky Saint's quite nice, to be honest.
It's a
I think my memory is that it tasted like the beach.
Yes, you did. You said this reminds me of being on holiday on the beach.
And that's how much I maintain that it tasted like the beach. That for me, I still remember it tasted like the beach. Yeah. And it was really good. Every time I have it, it's just like beach taste. But I just thought that was really nice as well. And so they had that event that had happened. Obviously, that event's over now. But it looks like they've just added a new event to the 6th of June in London at the Prince, and it's called Periods and Ponytails. How sweet and wholesome is that? So I'll read you the blurb on it. It says, dads are spending twice as much time with their children than previous generations. Periods are a conversation that we need to feel confident in. Join us for a 45-minute workshop with Grace Gordon, founder of Fluxbox. There's no judgment. Dads can sit down with a pint and simply listen. Dads are now spending twice as long with their children than previous generations, and we want our daughters to feel like they can talk to us about anything and not feel embarrassed. Periods can be painful and traumatic, so having everyone on board to navigate this space is really important, even if you're a few years away from this. Dads will get the opportunity to listen, and we'll leave with loads of tools to have healthy and open conversations in this space. Gone are the days of mum can deal with that. Once the chat is finished, Matt and Lawrence will be, so they're the hosts, will be taking the dads through the styling. From proper brushing and technique to mastering the plait, pigtail, space buns, and fishtail plait, and more. And I just thought
that's really good.
Literally so sweet.
Because, mate, there are men out there that do not understand periods.
And they're like, don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Don't want to, like, even people that aren't grossed out about it, they're like, don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Like, can you even, at least, like, I know, like, we're talking about periods now, and I wonder how many people would just be like, fast forward, gross. Yeah. But, like, I mean, like, I know that I can say to Rick, if he's out of the shop, I'm like, oh, could you get me some pads or whatever? And he'll be like, yep. And he won't ask, like, he won't have any issue. He'll just be like, yep, I know exactly what I need to get. I'll get the thing, I'll bring the thing home. But I have read stories on, like, I mean, I live on Reddit a lot and listen to a lot of stories. And there's like so many people that would just be like, ew, don't ask me to do that. I'm not buying that. Absolutely not.
I'm like, why not?
But it's like, it's a totally normal.
Would you not buy toilet paper?
But I also think like, but those same people would be like, if a girl didn't, if somebody that, you know, didn't feel comfortable buying condoms, feel comfortable, and then why don't you feel comfortable buying that? That's acceptable, but getting something hygiene products, not acceptable. It's like, that's just as intimate, I guess, if you want to make that argument. Like,
if you've got babies, you're not going to buy nappies.
You just go, sorry, I can't
buy wipes.
I can't do that. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I really like that this was promoting it in such a positive way. And yeah, so it's £38.62 for the ticket, but I don't know if that's just this event will finish at, so this is a daytime thing, so it's arrive at 12:15, start at 12:30, event will finish at 3:30, but dads are more than welcome to stay afterwards for a beer and chat. And I just think that's nice because it is building that community. So chances are someone's going to go to this event, they're going to learn a lot of things, they're going to learn about periods, how to braid hair, how to do all that stuff, and then they'll probably stay and chat for a little bit afterwards. And like reading some of the stories from people across various articles about people that have gone to these events and covering people that have gone to these events. Like sometimes it's as simple as just like, I, you know, my child's mother went away for the weekend and I realized just how incapable I was to have them leaving the house looking even remotely put together because I didn't know what I was doing. So I just had my daughter leaving the house with whatever, because I was not capable of doing that, all the way ranging to somebody that's like, I am a widower who lost my wife, and my wife would normally be the person having these, with this period thing, having these conversations. I'm not equipped for this. And it's like, this is creating such a nice space to take that toxic masculinity out of the room and then be like, cool, right, let's have this conversation. And I just thought it was really sweet.
Yeah, like if it's not something that it's not something you've experienced yourself, if you are a person with short hair and you've never been around people with long hair, like it's just a knowledge gap, right? So there's a way, like here is a nice wholesome way to get that education that you need.
Non-judgmental as well. Like it's a very open, non-judgmental space, and you're coming here because you want to learn how to do it. Like you and everyone else in that room wants to come out leaving doing that. Like you're not forced to be there.
No.
And that's nice because that's a learning environment that you can feel comfortable and safe with everyone else around you as well. So I just thought it was really nice.
Yeah. Going back to your, when I was looking for things, my feed is not as wholesome as yours because I didn't find as many.
Oh, like girl, no, my feed's not as wholesome. Well, no, I really like
you had to dig, because when I was looking, like I struggled to find nice things, but I have found one article. But another thing that I wasn't going to bring up, but has fed in quite nicely to this. Going back to it being that they had alcohol-free pints available for everybody. I was going through and Queer Brewing are talking about their non-alcoholic beer Bold, which is in their core range now, and they recently put a post up about how like that's in their core range, like because not only do they want to be inclusive to every type of person, they want to be inclusive to their sober friends as well. So they're all inclusive to everyone. So they've got a non-alcoholic beer in their core range so that even the people that want to have a non-alcoholic beer are welcome within their spaces and within their beer lineup. And like that's wholesome too.
That is really wholesome.
Yeah. Also, I've got
I
my
will
Queer
say,
Brewing t-shirt on. So
I will say, like you say, my feed was more wholesome than yours. It, like I said, it certainly was not. Like I really had to dig through a lot of things. I had to try lots of different code words and in my Google searches and lots of extrapolating. I looked hard. I came up with a lot of really interesting articles.
Yeah.
That I've had to pocket for later for us because I'm like, we could investigate this one later. But when it came to like wholesome stuff, I was just like, junk. I was like, can't use this. That's not really what I'm looking for. But yeah, so I know that you mentioned you only found like one article that you had on your side. I've got loads. So do we want to do yours first?
Let's do mine.
That way, if yours is a repeat of mine, I'll cut it.
We've done it. So I found, this is from January, but it runs throughout the year. So Tring Brewery have announced a collaboration with community first responders. Tring Brewery is in Berkhamsted, and they are raising funds and awareness for district community first responders. The community first responders, CFRs, the scheme was established in 1994, training volunteers to attend local emergency calls, offering life-saving care in the vital minutes before an ambulance crew arrives. And so Tring has joined forces with their local branch, which is Berkhamsted District, who was established in 1998, and they are trained by the East of England Ambulance Service NHS Trust. and they are having a monthly special beer to raise awareness of the group, and they're going to host unique fundraising events throughout the year. Now, each one of these beers has got a name that is themed and inspired by the health services.
Is this going to make me want to like chop onions? You're going to give me some really like
no, they're funny.
Wholesome. Okay,
no,
okay.
These are funny
because I don't handle. I can't have that emotional side right now.
No,
you need to give me the funny.
These are funny. So the full list of monthly beers are as follows. So January was Ambrulance, which was a pale ale, 4%. February was Resus Red, which is an amber ale at 4.2%.
That one's almost borderline a bit dark.
March was Skeleton Session, a bitter at 4%.
That's not what you want when you're doing life saving.
April was Thirst Responder, a pale ale at 3.9%.
I love that.
May, so if you get Tring beers near you, you might be able to find one of these. Was called On the Scene, which is a strong bitter at 4.4%. In June, it will be Priority One, which is a pale ale at 3.7%. July is Dr. ABC, which is a pale ale at 4%. August is called Stitched Up, which is a bitter at 4.1%. September is Citrus and Sirens, a pale ale at 3.9%. Right, October's great. October is called Shock Horror, which is strong bitter at 4.3%. November is Brews and Twos, which is a pale ale at 3.8% per bit. No. And actually, December's is my favourite. Holly and the IV. It's a festive bitter at 4%.
That's fantastic. That is good. Well done with the names on those.
So if you see those beers, buy one, because it will feed into the first responders charity work.
So not a fun fact per se, but do you know what Dr. ABC is? I imagine you probably do, because you've done first aid training.
Airways, breathing, circulation.
Danger, response, airways, breathing and circulation, because you got the doctor in there. But yeah, I just thought that was for anyone that's listening that's like, how does that one fit? Because it's a doctor. It's like
it's the parts of checking before you run into a situation.
Correct. But yeah, those names are great. Those are wholesome names. I feel like I saw Tring. I'd not heard of them before, but I feel like when I was searching for feel-good articles, they had come up quite a few times over the years. So I imagine that they do quite a lot of... I didn't end up picking one of their articles because I think I've got lots of stuff that's relatively old anyways, which probably says just how easy it was for me to find some of these articles. Because to be fair, what I will say is I was trying to steer away from specific... When I was finding wholesome stuff, like I was trying to just go like, what's a feel-good story? Because I was like, I know that we'll probably cover like charity stuff. We have covered charity stuff in the past and everything. Yeah. But I saw some of their articles and I feel like they did come up quite a bit. So I wonder if they do quite a lot for charity as well.
Yeah, I think maybe they do. Which
is a good place to support. And they've got really great names for their beers. So
yeah,
why not? Right. I'll go for my next one, which this is a Vice article from 2017, and it's called Drinking Advice from Adorable Beer Loving Grandmas.
Oh, I want to hear from adorable beer
saw the name
drinking grandmas,
and I really like it. So I'm not going to read the whole article. I'll just read like snippets from it. But what I will say, so it says this story was originally, so at the start of this is on Vice's website. And it says the story was originally published in Dutch on Munchies NL. So I'll read the intro of it so you kind of get a feeling for where the article's going. It says, many bars in the Netherlands have a huge selection of craft beer. Heavily bearded men in corduroy pants and women with small round gold glasses stand at the bar and pour over the massive beer list. In their eyes of the beer drinker who sticks to lager, craft beer drinkers blinded by their passion often come across rather silly. Nonetheless, ordering craft beers has become the new normal for the average Dutch millennial. In Belgium, where I was born, the word craft beer did not even exist until recently. There are plenty of young brewers who are creative with barley and spices. For instance, a 15-year-old boy who, for the time being, is still too young to drink his own beer. But Belgians have always made great beer. The best proof of this can be found in the cellars and refrigerators of our grandmothers. In Belgium, they are known for always having a generous stock of great beer at home, which they drink almost daily. I visited some beer drinking grandmas to take a look at their assortment and get some advice. And I thought it was really sweet. So this article, so I'll give you the advice pieces because I think people should go, I'll give you the advice from Vice. But I think people should go and read like the whole interviews because they've done like a few different questions for each of these ladies. So first up, we've got Denise, 83. And then again, any great tips for young beer drinkers? And Denise said, a dark beer should not be kept in the refrigerator as it loses its flavor. I see it often in bars and that makes me angry. Good beer has nice foam. If the foam disappears immediately, the glass is not clean. When I serve beer at home, I always have a towel nearby to wipe the glass. And I'm like, fucking yes, Denise.
Yes, Denise.
Yes, Denise. 83-year-old Denise.
Yes.
Hell yeah. That, like, already I'm like, yes, Denise. Love this. Then we've got Maria, 82. Her advice is, I always wait a bit before drinking my beer so that there is less foam. But maybe that's a personal thing. And I always warn my grandchildren not to leave their beer when going to the bathroom. I'm afraid that people will spike their drinks. That's depressing. But I was also like, 82-year-old Maria, she understands what's going on. Like she's like, you got to be safe. Safety first.
Yeah.
And she's thinking about it. She's not going like, oh, back in my day, you didn't have to do that. She's like, cover your drinks, ladies. Yeah. Ladies and gents. But I'm just like, I like her practical advice.
Yeah.
This is the sweetest one, I think, not for any other reason other than it's Mia, 83. And I don't know if it's Kate, but it's Katje. So I'm assuming it's pronounced Kate, 88. And it's their best friends in the nursing home together. How sweet is that? Their advice is Mia said, if you don't drink, your glass remains full. And true. Kate said, that's right. And I was like, factually correct. But I just found that they were so sweet. I was like, that's cute. And then the last one is Monique, who's 78. And this one's didn't even have advice to give. But what was written there was cute. So the interviewer said, hi, Monique, tell me about your love for beer. Monique said, every Monday, I drive with my husband to West Vletteren. Yep. We're just going to say Westy because every time my mouth... Did I say it? Because I feel like I say it and then my brain's like, did I stumble over that? I'm not going to say it again. You know what I said. Yeah. So they drive there 35 kilometers to drink the dark beer. The 12th is our favorite type. I don't know if I've said that right, but it's TWAALF is our favorite type. We drink one or two with a sandwich and then drive back home. And then they said, and then at home, the interviewer said, and at home, she said, we always drink a half a glass of Rochefort 8 in the early afternoon, and around 4 o'clock, another half glass. If you don't overdo it, a strong beer doesn't hurt. And I'm like, that is so sweet. And I really hope that when I'm 78, that Rick drives me 35 kilometers, however far away that is, because I didn't convert it to miles. And I hope that he drives me however many miles 35 kilometers is to drink a beer or two with a sandwich and then drives me home. And then we have two halves of a good beer, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. And that's it. What else do you want in life?
They're living their best lives.
Living their best life. They're having a beer that's on people's bucket lists. And she's just like, every Monday we just go there. Sandwich. It's not even like I go and drink there with my sandwich. We take Sandoz. That's what I want. That's beautiful. So yeah, this was a really feel good. How did that story make
I
you
love
feel?
that. That's made me really happy.
I'll share the article and then you can go and read the
Please.
rest of the interviews. But yeah, that was sweet. This next one, again, there's not really anything to read on it, but I'm going to send you a photo. I'm going to send you on your Facebook a link to what I'm looking at because you need to see it yourself. This is a Reddit post on r/Hyderabad, which I'm assuming is a place. I don't know.
Okay.
And it just says, my grandfather will be turning 92 tomorrow and he tasted craft beer for the first time today.
Oh, he's so smiley.
Tell me that's not the sweetest thing. He's got a huge bit, like it is quite a big glass.
Yeah,
like that is mega pint right there. It's quite big.
Like it's like
it's just a proper pint, but in his hands, in my hands, it would look
same. It looks the same height as like a Vice vase.
Yeah, it's quite big looking.
It's got it's like a Sam Adams glass, but way taller. I don't know if it's just the angle of the shot, but it looks massive.
I don't know if it's just the angle of the shot, but it does look big. And I feel like even in his hands, it looks really big. Yeah.
And he's like loving his life.
But I love that for him. And I will say, 92 years old, man does not look 92 years old. Yeah, the top comment is, doesn't look a day over 60. Happy birthday to him. Which you would think, oh, that sounds a bit rude when someone says doesn't look a day over 60. Right. But when you're, 92, that's a compliment, right. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But I just thought that was really sweet. And then all the comments are just like, happy birthday. Like, he looks like he's having a great time. Happy birthday. And I'm like,
nice.
I like that this didn't descend into like degeneracy. Although this one's a bit. This was from 5 years ago, and someone said, happy birthday to your grandpa. May he live longer than the Queen. That's a bit.
Oh, that's
well, you can't say that. You can't say that. I mean, we don't know if he did, but and somebody said, what is the place? And he said 040. So if you are in Hyderabad, I have no idea where that is.
Looks like they've got really big glasses. Go enjoy yourself.
They've got really big glasses. Go to 040 and you can look like you're living your best life. And we'll post this so you can see just he is living his best life. Mm-hmm. So just, again, this is the criteria for when I'm like, wholesome stuff that makes you feel good. Made me feel good. I looked at that and I was like, that's nice. Things that make you go, oh. So that's that one. That one's ticked. That was an easy one. I guess before I go on to the next set of things that I have, I will open up with a question, which is, have you ever witnessed a random act of kindness in a tap room that stuck with you? Or it doesn't have to be a tap room, but any beer scene. Have you ever witnessed a random act of kindness?
Not that stuck with me.
I would say there's nothing that's necessarily stuck with me as like a meaningful, like, oh, this one particular act of kindness happened. But I have been in places where people have paid for drinks of strangers, like when at the bar, like somebody would be like you'd be having a conversation with somebody and they'd be like, oh, like put their drink on my tab. I think that happens more in the US. Like I've run into that a lot more in the US of people being like, you're at a bar. It's more chatty, I think, in those type of, like you're more chatty with strangers in those type of environments. So you'd be like sat there having a conversation with someone and then they would like pay for your drink and you didn't even realize they paid for your drink without you knowing until you went to go pay for it. And they're like, oh yeah, that person's already paid for it. And you're like, oh my God, thank you. So I've definitely had that happen to me and I've definitely like done that for other people. And like my dad's big on doing that. And I'm like, you got to stop.
I've definitely had it where like I'm chatting to people and like they've offered to buy, like I'm going to the bar, can I get you a drink? Like I've done it with people, like if you're in like a really good chat and you're like, I'm gonna get this person a beer, like I've done it, I've had it done to me, like I've definitely seen that.
I've bought like waits, like bartenders drinks as well before, because I'm like, I give them a tip, but then also, especially in the US, you give them a tip, but then it's also like, do you want a drink? Like it depends on where you're, like there's certain places where, like in Japan, for example, buying a drink for the bartender is like a thing that you do. So I've definitely done that as well. I don't know if I'd consider that necessarily a random act of kindness, but I just think sometimes it's nice to just be
Yeah.
like, surprise, you've got that. This next story I've got is from a Reddit post that is called, so it's on r/craft beer from 5 years ago. And it says, just wanted to take a moment to say I love the craft beer community. And then it says story and comments. So the top comment is from the OP. It says, last year, the founder of Proclamation Ale, Dave Witham in Warwick, Rhode Island, died a month after his cancer diagnosis. He was taken much too soon. Vitamin C Brewing in Weymouth, Mass. had formed a solid bond with Dave and were in the process of collaborating on a beer together. Unfortunately, Dave passed away before the beer could be released. Vitamin C moved forward with the release, dedicated the beer to Dave, and donated the proceeds to his daughter's 529 plan. I don't know what that is. The caption in the picture was on all the cans. Might be the first time I've teared up over a beer. RIP. And it says these are the two best breweries in New England. Highly recommended, and there's links to them. I've heard of Proclamation Ale. Hadn't heard of, I said Vitamin C Brewing, but if you were in the US, you'd call it Vitamin C Brewing. Hadn't heard of them.
C.
I haven't. And hilariously, I've heard of Proclamation, which is further away from where I am than Weymouth. But the caption that is in question is the bottom of the can, the stamp on the bottom of the can. It says, this one's for Dave, and then it's got the date on it and stuff. So it's like,
that's nice.
That was really sweet and wholesome. So we're all chopping onions on that one. But yeah, that was a nice, it's not a nice story, but it's a nice way to commemorate a friendship. And they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to put that on the can, but they didn't. That was a nice touch. Next one is it's from r/home brewing. I like that the name on this one, the Reddit user is like Bruce Springsteen. Sometimes I really love usernames on Reddit because it will be like something really serious, and then like the username will just be like so immature and inappropriate, and then you're like, it's so like the juxtaposition of the name and the post is great. But like Bruce Springsteen, great. So this is called I Want to Share an Incredible Homebrew Story with You All. So it basically goes, okay, this is a bit of a long story, but I needed to share it. This is from 6 years ago as well. I'll caveat. Bit of a long story, but I needed to share it. A while ago, my friend, he's tagged someone, and I decided we wanted to homebrew a California common style beer. If you ever had Anchorstein beer, this is the style we were shooting for. We live in Alberta, Canada, and getting yeast for this style was ridiculously expensive locally. So after finding some yeast online at a home brewing shop in Brampton, Ontario, we reached out to Reddit to see if someone on the other side of the country would be willing to help us out. Then he basically links to what the original post was that got attention. And then he's tagged the user who's called Antman013. So this user from the R Brampton subreddit went out of his way to stop by the homebrew shop, packaged it up in an envelope and mailed it to us on the other side of the country. We brewed the beer, and a few weeks later kegged and carbonated it, and it tasted and it was fantastic. I bought a few bottles of it to my friend of mine, again tagged who it is, and his co-owner who own 948 Brewing in a location in Alberta. We shared these bottles after the tap room closed, and I told them this story. They loved the beer and the story and had us come down to the brewery and make a beer with them on their Pro system. And they've shared a link to the Instagram, presumably where it's brew day. Said, I just wanted to stop in here and let everyone know how this small act of kindness made a huge impact on my life. I can't thank this user enough. Your small act of kindness meant that hundreds of people got to try a beer we made. Also, kudos to R Brampton for allowing that to happen. Small acts of kindness can really make a huge difference in people's lives. This beer is a testament to that. I wanted to share the story and hope that the joy that this made for me and my buddy. We had so much fun making this beer, and I hope this post shows that even though we live far away from each other, we can all do little things that put a smile on each other's faces, even if it's just for a moment. Generally heartwarming story. I felt
that's
like
nice.
Just like, have you ever considered doing anything like for a stranger on the internet? Because I don't think that's even dawned on me. It's like a thing.
Not for a stranger. I've done it for people that like I met on cruise ships, and like there was someone that I worked with who collected Build-A-Bears. And there was a specific one that you could only get over here, and they were in Canada, and so I bought them the Build-A-Bear thing and sent it over to them to add to their collection. It's not beer related.
Still counts. It still counts. But I think that's the thing, is like the message of this story is like just doing one small nice thing for somebody as well. You don't even know the impact it could have a day. What I will say as well is like when you're talking about kind of that, you don't know the impact someone has. I feel like we might have talked about this before. I can't remember if it was on recording or not, because I've talked about this a few times with people. But like when I see somebody's like shirt that I like or a pair of shoes, I'm like, I compliment them. I want to make sure that if I see someone from a distance, I'm like, oh, sorry, I need to go over and tell that person that I really like their shirt or their shoes or their bag or whatever, or the haircut. Like if I like, I'm like, I need to tell them, not in a weird way, but like because I feel like the amount of times that someone has said something to me and gone like, oh, I like your shirt, or I like this, like it leaves you feeling really good. Exactly. And when I've said that to somebody else, like, oh, I like your shoes or I like your shirt, they've been like, oh my God, I love this shirt so much. I picked this shirt out from here, and you get the backstory, and it like really leaves them feeling good, which then makes you feel good because you're like, oh my God, I just made that person's day.
Yeah.
So yeah, small pebbles can make big ripples, which is nice. This one was a funny one that made me smile. So it's from our bartenders, and this is not necessarily beer related, but it is drinks related. And it's called A Wholesome Conversation That Brightened My Day. This is backstory. I bartend at a semi-fancy restaurant / bar. Kids are allowed at the tables. This conversation was with one of my regulars' kids. It's about 6 months ago. Kid, around 8ish years old. Can I have a cranberry juice with no ice, please? Me, cranberry juice neat. Sounds good. Kid, wait. Does neat mean no ice? Me, yeah, it's dramatic pause. Secret code. Mum giggles. Kid enthralled. So then how do I ask for the drink if I want ice? Kid, me, ask for your drink on the rocks. Kid, okay, good to know. Then it says, fast forward to the present when I totally forgot about this interaction. Kid, can I get an apple juice on the rocks? And then he just said, I died. That just cracked me up. And his mum forgot about it as well. We all had a good chuckle over it.
I love it. Yeah, that was good.
So that one's a good, like, bring a smile to your face.
Things kids say.
I think somebody did say, like, this is what it's like interacting with kids. So this one reminds me why I like interacting with children, only to remember the time I bumped into one with a tray full of stuff. That was not fun.
Oh, yeah, that's not
I was
fun.
like, oh, that was not fun.
No.
But it does say, like, nice interactions. They said nice interactions like this make the job more fun. It's like, it does, doesn't it? When you can have a kid that's like, you just taught that kid. And you didn't teach them wrong. No. They taught them, this is how you order this drink, and it's life lessons. Yeah. But also when that kid used that life lesson on you as a child, asking for you for like apple juice on the rocks. Excellent.
Yeah.
Next one I've got. Oh, this one was a nice one. This is the one that was nice and kind of ends sort of not nice, but not in a bad way. So this brewery that was doing dog adoption. So they were called, what was their name? Fido's Tap House. And they opened in 2018 in Portland, Oregon, after being inspired by cat cafes. And they were the world's first bar and restaurant that doubles as a foster home for puppies. And they were basically rescued dogs that were from kill shelters from Central California. They did this via a partnership with OFOSA, Oregon Friends of Shelter Animals. They could house up to 4 dogs. They typically would house 4 dogs, but they could house up to 8 dogs. They could foster up to 8 dogs. And the rooms were basically separate to the bar and restaurant areas. They had their own space, but you could like have your beer, have some food, and then go and play with these dogs after. They had toys. They had like all this stuff. And the hope was that visitors could play with the dogs in hopes that somebody would find the dog that they'd want to adopt. And if they did find a dog they wanted to adopt, they had to wait 3 days for the adoption to be processed to make sure alcohol didn't influence their decisions. Because I would be like, I'm taking them.
All the
Oh,
dogs.
save them. Oh, like, yeah. So you had to wait 3 days to make sure it wasn't an alcohol-induced decision that you made. And this is so cute because it said the dogs could enjoy a meal with their to-be owners. So this is the quote from it is, for humans, there's a variety of dog-themed food to choose from on the menu. For the dog, there's a gourmet mashup of brown rice, chicken, peanut butter, and teriyaki sauce. Random combination. The dish is called the doggy mash. The sad part of the news was that the brewery closed in January 2023. It looked like at that point in time they were trying to find an owner to buy it from them, but it doesn't look like that actually happened because I went searching to be like, did anybody ever buy it? Did it reopen? It doesn't look like it panned out where anybody bought it, but I did see posts from 7 weeks ago, like their social media is still active. And so I like went looking through that and I saw comments that were from 7 weeks ago. And it looks like they were like, we don't have a physical location for this brewery anymore, but watch our socials because we are going to be posting things. Looks like they've got more into the realm of helping support the pet adoption more than the brewery aspect of it.
Okay.
But I thought it was really sweet. And I was like, I haven't heard of anybody, I hadn't seen anyone else doing that. Like I'd seen where breweries would do charities with, you know, supporting dogs and supporting dog adoption and donating to charities like Lost and Grounded does the Dog Day afternoon. And that just happened last month. And lots of really good stuff that supports animals and animal charities. But I love the idea of this is, if somebody said to me, you've hit the lottery, and you don't have to work. The signs would be that I'd be like, yeah, I guess I can open up, maybe not a brewery because I wouldn't want to brew the beer, but I'd be like, I'm going to open up a craft tap room that is also a fostering place, because like think of how many lovely dogs that you just get to have around you and then like hopefully find them forever homes. So that one to me was like a really touching one. I really liked that one. And I want somebody else to open it up.
When I was looking, I thought I'd come across an article about Anchor Brewery in San Francisco, and so it closed in 2023, and the workers would have been trying to crowdfund for it and to own it themselves and bring it back. It's now been bought by a conglomerate that makes yogurt.
A conglomerate that makes yogurt. Because now I'm trying to place it. I'm like,
by Chobani, is it?
Chobani,
yeah, it got bought by the owner of Chobani, who apparently doesn't like beer, isn't fussed by beer, and didn't know what Anchor was, but they bought it anyway.
Chobani is one of my favorite business names. Me and my sisters and my mum, we got my mum involved. We will just laugh about the name Chobani because it sounds rude. It's like sounds like a really rude word. And so when you said, "Oh, I think it's this," and I was like, "Is it Chobani?" That's what made me giggle. When you're like, "It is, yes," and then you're like, "And that person doesn't like beer." I'm like, "Of course, they don't like beer."
Apparently, the owner doesn't really like beer, doesn't know anything about beer, doesn't know anything about Anchor, but they bought the business, so they bought like the brand and the beer names. Right. The brewery is still shuttered, but there was an article this month in a San Francisco newspaper, but it's behind a paywall, so I couldn't get into it. But there are like rumors that something might be moving and that Anchor might come back, but that's as far as I got. So I'm gonna throw it in there. Like I wasn't gonna bring it up because I have no definite conclusions, but as we were talking about a brewery closing, there is rumors that Anchor might come back. So not quite feel good there yet, but maybe.
But owned by Chobani.
But the IP is owned by Chobani. Have you opened your next beer?
I did, yeah. Sorry, I didn't know if you had a second beer, so that's why I was like, I'm just going to cheeky open mine. I will say my second one still fits of the friends we made along the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's Limbs by Flowerhorn. It's a 5.2% New England Pale Ale. And the reason it still follows the theme is because this was gifted to me by Ruth when I saw her the
I knew it
last
was gonna
time
be
that I
Ruth
saw
here.
her. Yeah, because I floated the idea of like, what if I looked at moving to Wales at some point, because she's moved to Wales, and she was like, great, let me get you a collection of all the beers of the breweries that you can look forward to when you move to Wales.
Here.
Like, let me win you over. What if you move here? Like, this could be your new local brew. It was like when you're finding the right pair, and she's like, this could be yours if you pick the right location. So that's what I thought I would have, is this one, because I was looking forward to it. And it's got a cute look at that. It's got a little I don't know if it's like an axolotl type. It looks a little bit axolotl.
Yeah, it does.
I was here for it. Feral.
I have got Director's Cut from Closet, which was the beer they did with Squiff, which is a charity formed with the aim of getting people watching, talking about, and making more queer films while challenging inequalities and barriers to access in the arts. I pulled this one because it's done with a charity, but also because I think one of the most wholesome things about craft beer is the communities that it builds and that we are a part of. And Closet is so good about being there for their community and making sure that their community has a voice. So, and I also love that this has got a mer person on it.
I know.
I love it.
Would you say that it's about the friends we made along the way?
I think it is, because
the community,
we definitely made friends with Closet along the way. So it acts as that as
community, well. The community that they built, the friends they made along the way.
Yes. And it's a New Zealand Pilsner.
Funnily enough, this is fantastic. This is an accidental, really great thing. So number one, what I was going to say before you said a New Zealand Pilsner.
Yeah.
Is I almost had a Closet beer as well. That was my third. Like, if I had a third beer, that was going to be the third beer. Just because I bought it during the Trans Day of Visibility. Yes. And I was like, I want to have one of those because I think that's really nice and just like a really nice thing that they do every year. But then that was the third beer in line, because I was like, the one I was going to have would last longer than these other ones. So I was like, going to have the shorter shelf life ones. But honorable mention. But what you've just said about the style of beer just feeds into the next story.
Oh.
So, next story comes to us from New Zealand.
Da, 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 da. That went really nicely. We didn't even plan that.
No. That's when you were like, when you said what it was, I was like, hey, this is perfect, because I actually had done the order, so I'd saved them all in order, but the dog story one, I hadn't pulled up as its own separate thing because I'd made notes on it on my notepad. So nearly this almost wasn't the next one I was going to read. So actually it worked out really nicely, because
kismet.
It is, yeah. And that is, I'm going to just go with it. So this is from, I think this is obviously probably quite outdated, but the concept of it is what was nice. So the article itself is from 2016 from, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of this resource because I don't want to even remotely offend it. But the title of it is Communal Beer Fridge, a First for New Zealand. Okay. I'll just read you the article because it's not a very long article. So, a central Auckland cafe and bar has launched a unique fridge concept to provide the community of homebrewers a place to share their craft beers. Number one Queen Street owners, Travis Field, is hosting the project, which launched this year. Quote from Travis: "It's cool to be able to provide a service where we can let home brewers bring in their beers and swap them. It's a neat concept." Mr. Field said that the idea came about after the startup of the bar's book swap station. We thought, why not a beer swap? Homebrewers can bring in the beer they made and swap it for someone else's. There is no commercial aspect to it. It's just pure fun, Mr. Field said. Manager James Wakefield said contributors stand to learn more as well. Once a month, we get a professional brewer on site to talk through the processes with one of their beers on tap. We have a little competition and judge it. There are 80 members who contribute to the fridge. It's free to join, free to swap your beer over, Mr. Wakefield said. Jason Hyatt, whose beer iguana brow features a picture of a tuatara on the bottle, won the monthly prestigious shield, and he said he was thrilled. I love home brewing as I get to make the exact kind of beer I want. I've been doing it for 5 years now. Once a year, budding brewers have a chance to win a chance to brew their beer professionally and put a keg on tap. As to whether he will open his own brewery, Mr. Hyatt joked, maybe if I won the lotto.
Yeah.
But I just thought like the concept, this was less
Yeah.
about this specific place, but more about the concept of it, because so I've like heard that, and then I've heard in passing about other things as well, where it's like take a beer, leave a beer, in the same way as take a book, leave a book. This was just the only like article that I could
Yeah.
kind of find. But it's not necessarily even always with home brewers. It could just be like you're doing a bottle share and it's a little bit like take one, leave one sort of situation. And I just really thought that concept was really cool and really
Yeah.
nice. And like, again, it just made me smile to just be like, a home brewer could go in and then be like, I'm gonna leave some beers, and then like let's all just try each other's beers, and it doesn't have to be like a
Yeah, I love
bottle
that.
share day. The idea of a community
Yeah.
beer fridge I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I
But
really like that.
I think it'd be really cool to do something like that here. I don't know how it would work. I don't know how like legalities would work if you could just do that. I don't know if there'd be any rules or regulations that are like, yeah, you can't. I don't know if it's just as long as it's not for sale. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was a really cool, and the idea that there's a whole competition at the end of it as well.
Yeah. I mean, we have we used to have, like, when I was home brewing, there was a local homebrew group, and we'd go along and share all of our beers and like give each other tips on how we could fix issues and talk about how we did things, and like a bottle share, but for home brewers. But again, it's just that really nice community that you get from beer. Love it.
Yeah, I think I like the idea. So like looking at the photo of it as well, it's like there's a whole fridge and it's just like beer exchange. This is the homebrew club fridge. And I don't know, just something about that feels very unique and interesting as well. But I this reminds me of another article that I saw that didn't make it to this list of things I was going to talk about. But I'll mention it, where it was a post on Reddit where people were basically looking for beer judges for this beer festival somewhere in the UK somewhere, and it was just like, look, we're not just looking for people with experience of beer judging. Like, this is just going to be a very small local festival. Like, if it helps, we can give you discounted tickets. We just want to get like a bunch of different people judging, and like these are the expectations and this is what you should be doing. And like, I thought that was really the nice. It didn't quite make the wholesome as much vibes, but the part that I thought was nice about it was like it was actively encouraging people that are not professional beer judges. Like, they're like, you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be like a well versed beer drinker, like you just have to drink beer. And if you just drink beer, you can fill out a form that says this is what I liked and this is what I didn't like. And like that's what we want, is like you're judging. There's only going to be a handful of different people submitting to this competition, and we want to have X amount of judges. And like, it's just nice to get the community feedback, because it was all about building that community aspect. And that was what the feel good vibe of that was. But there wasn't quite enough there for me to go, yeah, that made the story. But it was relevant in regards to like you talking about homebrew club and this article talking about it. So yeah, I'd go to like, I'm not a homebrewer, but I'd be like, oh, I'd want to get involved in that. Like, I'd be like, how can I get involved if I'm not a homebrewer? Can I just pay for homebrew club and just drink other people's homebrews? And how does it work? Are you like limited? Do you bring like multiple of your homebrew and then you just go like, here's all my homebrews? Or is it literally just like leave one, take one? I wonder if they're still doing it, because I didn't actually look up whether or not they're still doing it. So be interesting to see if they are still doing it or not and how it's panned out.
Yeah.
Few stories left. So next one I've got is, speaking of homebrewing, it's another from r/homebrew. So it's called Beer Delivered, a feel good story. It is, so the body of it is, with this, so this is from 6 years ago, so this was like COVID times for context. The body says, with this whole COVID thing going down, I've been brewing a lot more and decided to finally brew something my father-in-law would enjoy. Let's just say his beer of choice is Bud. So I made this recipe. It's a link to a recipe, and he could almost barely taste the difference. I actually tricked my dad and brother-in-law into thinking mine was the Budweiser. Well, the father-in-law took a growler home over the weekend and asked for more that night. So today I packed up the keg, picnic tap, mini CO2 regulator, and my old fermentation mini fridge and installed it on his screened-in porch. Needless to say, the look on his face was priceless. Love spreading the joy of homebrewing around. Now I've got to make my mother-in-law a gluten-free beer when they kick the bud clone. Any suggestions? And the thread is all just like, oh, you should make this, you should make that.
Yeah.
But I like that wholesome aspect of like tricked my in-laws into thinking that my beer was the bud. They really enjoyed it. Went and set up a whole like keg setup at my father-in-law's house as a surprise. That is really nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Have you ever tried to make clones of things? I know you have for me, but not for me. For anyone other than me, have you tried to make clones?
Yeah, I did. For myself, I tried to do a Sam Adams clone, and mine was fine, but there was something about it that wasn't quite right. So they say what ingredients they use in Sam, but there's something in there that's missing.
Water profile.
It might have been the water profile. But I feel there was a flavour in there that I missed. I think there was a different type of malt that they were not disclosing.
Ooh, controversial. I feel like I'm like, hide the Sam Adams. I'm wearing my Sam Adams. I'm like, well, hide that.
It was fine. Like my Vienna lager was lovely. It wasn't quite Sam, but it was still lovely.
It wasn't Samuel. It was just Sam.
It was just Sam. And then a friend of mine asked me if I could brew her that. So there was a beer that Shepherd Neame used to make. I think they called it Abbey Ale, and they didn't make it anymore. And she was like, "I loved it. Is there any chance you could make it?" And so I went on a bit of a search, and I found an article about it on a blog, and kind of worked out a recipe for it and made it. And she was like, "That tastes exactly like it." So I was very pleased that I managed to recreate that beer for her.
I just think that's really nice when people are like, I like to homebrew. I just love the idea of like doing the beer. There's this person. It's almost like a challenge, I imagine, of like this person. For a lot of people in these stories on like the homebrewing sub that I've read, it's always been like, it's not even necessarily about brewing the beer to enjoy themselves. It's about the challenge in, can I create this recipe or recreate this recipe? And I'm doing it for this person, but really it's a challenge to myself to do this thing. But it's like not even like they're brewing it because the outcome is like, I can't wait to drink this beer. And I think that's like so interesting, because I would have thought what motivated me to even have the idea, which I never followed through with, thankfully, of like home brewing, is I was like, I miss some of the flavors that I could easily get in the US. And I'm like, God, if I homebrewed, I could get this, or I could make that for myself. And I guess there would be that challenge, but it was like, that's still for me. Yeah. But so many of these people that have actually homebrewed are like, it's not even actually for me. I don't do it for my love of drinking the beer. I do it for the creative outlet and the challenge, and for other people to enjoy, which I think is very noble. Would you say the majority of what you brewed would be like that?
A lot of what I brewed was for me, and I wanted to try and make like interesting flavors, or I'd had something and I was like, oh, I want to try and like bump that particular element of it up, or I want to try that as a saison or something like that. Jam donut beer, hello.
Yeah, but that was a nice little international, that was a nice little COVID International Women's Day thing. Was that more like the challenge of like, I should do it? Was there like the challenge aspect to it of like, can I make this jam beer nice? Or was it just like I'm going to do something for the community? Or was it just, I guess, a mix of both?
It was a bit mix of both, because I was just like, let's do, like, we didn't have the opportunity. So the beer, if you're new around here and you've not heard this story before, it was when we were in lockdown, and for that International Women's Day, I asked a group of my beer drinking ladies, I was like, right, I'm going to brew a beer. You're going to pick what it's going to be, and I will brew what you pick. So it was keeping us in the International Women's Collaboration Brew Day when we couldn't get to anywhere. So we had a vote.
Got feral.
Yeah. We had a vote, and they decided that they wanted a jam donut stout. And one of our friends went, and you have to put donuts in it.
Yeah.
because everybody's crazy. And so I was like, right, I'm taking this challenge. So I'd used a toast homebrew. Like, so if you don't know what toasts are, they are a brewery that uses surplus bread in their beers, and they put out homebrew versions of some of their recipes. And I tried one of those, and it come out really well. And I was like, I figured that I could just do the same with the donuts. So you break up the bread, and then you dry it out in a really low heat oven, so you're taking the moisture out. And so I just did the same with ring donuts and put them into the mash. And then I was going to add raspberry puree um after fermentation, and it did come out tasting like a raspberry jam donut. And that's like, I was like, that's the goal, as well as doing this crazy stuff. It was a mess. Like, the donuts went in with the mash.
You were literally like, I'm never doing donuts again.
They disintegrated, and it was a massive mess. And like, I nearly got, I think I did get a stuck mash because there was so much stuff stuck on the sieve. And then the next morning, because there was so much extra sugar in it, because it was a stout as well, so already it was heavy on the sugars from the malts. And then you put the sugary ring donuts in. And then the next morning when I came down, it was literally fermenting out the top of my demijohn, and I had to like, luckily I had some bits and pieces, and I managed to fashion a blow off tube.
I do remember you being like, oh no.
Oh,
you no. Sent me a photo and you're like, oh no. You're like, she's crazy.
I always kept like a pot of sanitizer just in case I needed it. And luckily I did, because I needed the blow off tube to go into this pot of sanitizer, and that was fine. And then we put the raspberry in it, and then that went a bit crazy as well. But it tasted like a raspberry jam donut at the end. So the challenge of doing that, and then providing my community with still being able to do the International Women's Collaboration Brew Day, even though we were apart and couldn't leave our houses, and providing them with what they asked for, that was fun.
Yeah, and I do remember you being like, I will never brew with a donut again. You were like, oh, never again with donuts. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. And then I remember being like, so mustard beer, and you were like, oh, fine. And like, yes, but we're not doing donuts.
A mustard beer, and it was gross, but it tasted okay.
It was like, great. The brewing of it was gross. Like, it did taste good,
but it tasted good.
I love you. Like, it was gross. It was gross to brew, but it tasted great.
Yeah. I had to put actual mustard in it, and it was that like bright yellow mustard.
Yeah, but it tasted good. And it didn't use donuts, more importantly.
It didn't use donuts. It just used weird mustard instead.
Yeah, I feel like since we started doing this podcast, and since you've started brewing like the weird things that we've been like, should we do this? That would be fun. And then you've like made things. Yeah, you've not brewed a lot.
No.
Is it because you're busy, or is it because you're like, I do not want to brew another
because
ridiculous beer?
The reason that I liked homebrewing is that because I could do weird stuff, because my homebrew set was literally 5 litres on the stove with 2 pans. Like a friend at work, he is not a brewer. Like, he's in our marketing team, and like he's never brewed properly, but his friend is a homebrewer, and he was like, I'm gonna like try and do a homebrew with my friend. And I was like, oh, that's exciting for you. And he's like, yeah. Like, and I was like, oh, what kind of kits? And he's like, we reckon his friend's got a grainfather or something. And I was like, that's easy.
They make it so easy, don't you? Right? There's a question, would you ever consider getting a grainfather? Because I definitely have, because it makes it so easy.
I definitely thought about it.
And it's not expensive, which is the worst part. Is I'm like, that's what's lethal. Yeah. It's not cheap. Yeah. I'm not saying that like, anyone can go out and get one, but it's very cost effective for the small one.
And I did consider it when I was homebrewing a lot. I liked the smaller setup because I could make crazy experimental beers with donuts in, with mustard in. I did one that was like marmalade and basil, came out really good. I did a lemon and rosemary saison. Like, I did like, interesting stuff, but it was because it made like 10 pints worth. And so if it was terrible, it didn't matter. Like, you could just get rid of it. I always made drinkable beer. I was always very proud.
Because I've never
had. There was never anything that I got to and I was like, this is not drinkable. Like, everything was drinkable. Was it top class beer? Maybe not, but it was interesting and it was
I
good.
never
And like
had
I
one
could
from you
do,
that I've ever been like,
yeah,
I can't drink
yeah,
it. It's always been good.
yeah. And so I liked the small size because then I could do really experimental stuff, which is why I never bought a Grainfather, because you have to make like 20 litres in one of those. I did consider it though at one point, but my problem now is the time, because a brew day is at least 4 hours. And so even if I could get a clear day, like I could probably get a clear day to
That's
do a
not how you
brew
want to
day.
spend your day after
But
doing beer stuff
but
all week.
then like if I've done, that's fine, you've got that day, but then 4 weeks later you've got to bottle it and you've got to clean up that aspect of it, and then you've got to let it condition. So like it's that, having that a full day and then at least a 4 week period to be able to then bottle it in time for it, before it overdoes its thing. That time period I don't really have anymore.
Do you think
So
there's anything that could bring you out of retirement? Like any beer that you'd be like, oh, that's an
I
interesting
mean,
one to try to
maybe.
do?
So I've kept my kit is packed away in boxes in the garage or in the shed. I don't have ingredients anymore, but like I haven't got. I did say to Gordon the other week, I was like, "Do you think I should get rid of this?" And he was like, "I mean, it's not, it's not in the way." He was like, and I was like, "If I do ever want to brew anything, all I've got to do is just buy ingredients, so it's there."
Yeah.
I'd like.
I think you should buy the Grainfather.
You should buy a Grainfather.
Rick
Joe
would
at Malt
fucking kill
Miller's
me.
been trying to convince you for ages.
Rick would actually murder me because he'd be like, "Why have you done
Another
this?"
hobby?
I am literally to a T those reels of like ADHD, and they're like, and then I got another hobby.
I can't remember. Wait, I saw a really good thing and I saved it the other day. What was it? I'm going to find out, because I was like, this is me, because I have so many hobbies. It was not a jack of not a jack of all trades, but a hoe of all hobbies.
I did. That came up on my feed, and I was like, true. Yeah, it's like between the sofa. I'm like, oh, what's this between the sofa cushions? Oh, another hobby. Another hobby
Yeah.
that I started.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So many. Yeah, I would love that, because I think it would be, because it is so compact. Like it is a very compact way to brew.
It's literally time. Like if we suddenly found a recipe and we were just like, this is going to be amazing, we could easily make it. I found the chunk of time. Like there'd have to be a compelling reason, but
Pumpkin
I do still
spice.
have all of my stuff that
Spooky
I could
season.
Like I haven't got rid of the kit, so the option is still there.
Okay, we might need to get you out of retirement. So this so I've got like 2 stories left. Another one is from the homebrewing community, and it's called Random Acts of Homebrewing Kindness. So like, I guess this could go either way. This is either like a nudge to you to get rid of that kit, or maybe you just pick up more kit. I don't know. So 6 years ago, it reads, I just have to share the story because I was moved almost to tears, literally. I've been brewing a lot of bigger batches lately, so I'm trying to bolster my bottle collection. I posted on Craigslist as a Hail Mary, hoping somebody would come across it and save me a few out of their recycling. Last night, I got a message. A local fella said he had 7 cases of empties in the back of his truck and that they were mine if I could meet him. That sounds dodgy already. I'm just going to put that out there. If I saw a Craigslist ad of like, no, my dude, I've got 7. The thing you want, 7 cases of those in the back of my van. Just come with me. Meet me at a location. I'd be like, show me the 7 cases. Anyways, it's a nice story and I'm not going to ruin the rest of it. So he was even more red flags. He was a few neighborhoods away and I was in the middle of making dinner, so I asked if we could meet tomorrow. He said he would drop them off at my house in 30 minutes.
Wow.
It ends well. It ends well. When he got here, we started unloading the bottles and he asked if I was interested in anything else in this bed of truck. A niche 8-gallon brew kettle, a monster mill, a mash tun made out of a keg, a wort chiller, and some paddles, etc. Well, The quote is, well, yeah, I could use all of those things, I said, My rig is pretty Spartan, and I've been in the market for a grain mill in particular, but just haven't been able to budget for it. But I am pretty short on cash today, so I'm afraid I can't make you an offer for any of it. The guy's response was, "Today's your lucky day." Apparently, his brother, who went gung ho into homebrewing, recently passed away. This generous stranger was taking care of his brother's possessions and didn't have any family members who were into brewing. Mainly, he wanted to make sure the gear would go to a good home where it would be used. He gave it all to me for free. I was so awestruck by the stranger's generosity. He went out of his way to deliver maybe $1,000 worth of nice homebrewing equipment right to my front door and asked nothing in return. My fiance was helping me unloading the bottles and said that she could see the tears in my eyes welling up as I realized what he was offering. Although I didn't have cash to offer, I gave him a few extra bottles of brew I had made, plus a Modella Negra, in case the ones I made aren't any good, and some fresh garlic that we had dug up from our garden. You know me, I love garlic. I'd be like, sold. Yeah. This is amazing. Here's for your goods and services. Yeah. I just can't believe how generous and kind this guy was. I usually only cry when I watch movies about baseball. Weird, I know, but I'm still misting up a little bit as I type this. The man fist bumped me, slightly more COVID safe than a handshake, ? And offered me his card. I'm glad I have his work address and know that what he drives, because I intend to leave him a nice batch of Christmas homebrew to thank him properly. Anyway, I just want to share the news that random acts of kindness are alive and well out there, and say if you ever want to buy or sell property in Alaska, give Colin Roth at Remax a shout. Yes, Colin. I wonder if Colin at Remax in Alaska is still doing his thing 6 years later. I hope so. So yeah. I hope Colin, I want to know if there's like an update story, to be honest. I might need to go and like find it to just be like, is there an update? I'm having a really quick look just to see if 6 years ago he's posted, I made that beer. I'm going to find it after. And if I find this, we'll post it with the story. Okay. But yeah, so that was the second to last story. Was that one? I came close to chopping onions.
That was nice. Yeah, I like that.
That was a really nice story. It started off creepy, but it started off creepy in a way that...
See, sometimes the flags are not red. Sometimes they're flag.
Yeah, but I'm like, red flag. And then he's like, but you can, like, can you imagine the whole test is like, how trusting are you? And he's like, here's a grain father. And I'm like, oh, I was wrong about you. That's on me. The last story I've got is called What's the Best Beer Experiences You've Had? This is from 11 years ago. It's quite a long time ago on r/beer. And the reason I was ending on it was because there was two really nice comments. I'm going to end with the two nice comments, but I'm going to start with one of them that made me laugh was just, before I started drinking regularly, I went to SeaWorld and did a beer tasting. We ate different foods that complemented the different beers really well. I don't know why it made me laugh, because I was like, SeaWorld is not the place that I picture someone going to do a beer tasting. And I was like...
Beer
respect.
And food pairing, in fact.
Yeah, but it's just like, before I started drinking regularly, I went to SeaWorld and did a beer tasting. And I was like, cute. Not the place that I expected, but that's great.
Like, Epcot, yes, because you're drinking around the world.
Yeah, maybe. But SeaWorld just, feels like a weird one to do a beer tasting at. But that's cool. Respect. And then another nice one that was another one that I was like, this is just wholesome memory, like family memories, is I was a senior in high school skiing in Colorado with my family. This was my first time to ever snow ski, and I absolutely loved being on the mountain. I'm from a small town in a dry county in Mississippi, so my beer choices were extremely limited, not to mention being underage, and nearly impossible to even score a case of Bud Light. So my family is at a ski up lodge at the base of one of the slopes for lunch. My older brother had ordered a Blue Moon before going to the bathroom. I basically drank the entire thing before he got back. It was my first time having anything besides Bud, Coors, Miller, and it was amazing. Judge me if you will, but Blue Moon is still my favorite beer at 26 years old, and I've tried probably close to 100 different beers since then, but none resonate with me as much as Blue Moon with an orange. This is 11 years ago, and I want to be like, now that you are 37 years old,
Is Blue Moon still
Is Blue Moon still your favorite? So I might actually follow up and ask that question just to be like, just to follow up.
Is Blue
yes
Moon
or no?
still your favorite?
Because I want to know.
Nothing wrong with the Blue Moon.
That, I feel like that one was like, that one felt nice because it's like, that's just a cool, like, nostalgic memory. So let's end on the two actually really nice ones. So first of the two is I split a beer with my dad camping. I split a beer with my dad on a camping trip the summer before I left for school. It was a Foster's lager poured into a steel camping mug, and no Foster's will ever taste as good as that one did. I've had countless wonderful beer experiences in the 20 years since that one. Many also with my dad, many also with my old man, but that's one of my favorite beer memories. I was like, that's really wholesome and nice.
Yeah.
And the last one is a couple of years ago, I decided to Google all the breweries in driving distance to me and start hitting all the ones I hadn't been to yet. A week later, I had somehow convinced my mother to tag along with me to check out Treehouse Brewing. She wasn't a big beer drinker at the time, so it was sweet of her to humor me, especially at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. That day is hands down one of my favorite beer experiences, not just because I had accidentally discovered what has become my favorite brewery, but because the whole day was perfect. My mum and I had a beautiful scenic drive. We met wonderful people. We had samples and bought beer and just enjoyed each other's company. My favorite thing about craft beer is how it can bring people together. You always meet wonderful people when you go to breweries or beer releases. The vibe is just really neat. My mum now asks to tag along to brewery trips with her. It becomes our bonding hobby. And I just thought that was really nice. My mum's my designated driver when I go to the US. Except this last trip when she couldn't drive. And I'm like, do you want it? And she, like, I'll go and she'll be like, I literally cut out a list of breweries for you, like in the local newspaper, like the local papers and magazines. She's like, and they did an article on the breweries, or she'll be like, female-owned breweries. I thought you might like these. And I'm
my
like,
dad will be like,
shall we go?
My dad's like, there was this article in the Sunday newspaper magazine that was about beer, so I saved it for you.
That's it. It's like, I'll come home. Mum's like, here's a stack of things that I saved. Shall we go see some of them? And I'm like, if you're the designated driver, let's go. This is great.
Also sent my dad looking in various different Morrisons for beers for us back in the day.
We did, yeah.
I was like, Dad, when you're in this one, I'll send him pictures and I'm look for this, see if it's in the supermarkets you go to.
Your dad's the real MVP. I've sent my family to, I'm like, this release is coming out. Can you find this? Yes or no? I think
we went into Brighton. We were going to a concert in Brighton at the Brighton Dome, and because we were in Brighton, I was like, I think I was picking up an order from Umbard. I think I'd messaged Brett and was like, can I come? I was like, I've got an order. Can I come collect it? And they were like, yeah, just pop round. So me and my dad tracked up there, and I got there and it was closed. And like they're open on a Monday now, but then I'm like, I messaged Brett and I was like, you're closed. And he was like, oh yeah, we're closed on a Monday. And I was like, why did you tell me that I could come collect the beer? And he's like, just come right. He was like, where are you?
Somebody's
and I was like,
there.
I'm at a gate. And he was like, and he's like, kind of, then his head popped out of the brewery and he was like, come over here. And so like got us in through the brewery. And there's like me and my dad, because if you've not been to Umbard, it's quite a small space and they have maximized it.
Yeah,
as much as they can. Like
they've done a lot with the space, to be fair.
It's tight in that brewery. And they had a delivery of malt sacks that was on a pallet in the doorway. And literally, there was me and my dad like shuffling past malt, and they're like, mind those pipes. And we went over stuff. And then like, Jordan was in there and we were having a chat and they gave me the beer and the stuff that I picked up and we're like chatting away. And my dad was like, this is what you do all the time, isn't it? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, and those people know who you are. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. Then we shuffled back out past the malt.
The most like wholesome parent related story that I had recently as well was like, my mum, I was on the phone with my mum at one point like a few weeks ago, and she was telling me some story about something. I can't remember what it was anymore. And she was like, oh, just FYI, like, I don't know why he asked, but your dad's asked what the link to your podcast is. So I just sent him the link. So like,
yeah.
Who knows? She was like, who knows who he's giving it to? Just be prepared. I have no idea who he's giving it to. But he's giving it to someone. So I don't know. And then she's like, yeah, no, he does like he's asked me several, and she goes, and so I've gone to look for this link and I've put it in, and then she's like, and then I see how much it came up and all these different things about your podcast and everything else. And she was like, And I was like, oh shit, people, like, and my mum's not a swear or anything. And she just went, I was like, oh shit, people like, oh, you are doing like quite a lot of things. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, it was impressive. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I was
thanks,
like,
Mum.
cheers, Mum.
Thanks, Sharon.
And then she's like, yeah, and like, yeah, your dad, he likes going around and telling people about it. Like, he doesn't really know that much about it, but he will go and tell people about it and give them the, like, you know, clearly he's given them the link. And I'm like,
thanks, sorry,
fantastic. So I'm like, I don't know who's ended up with these links. If you're here because of my parents, I'm sorry.
Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm sorry. Thank you.
If you want to hear from Sharon, there is an episode that's called Take Your Mum to Work Day.
I think we also tried to get my dad on it because he wanted to listen.
Yeah.
And he wanted to like chime in on things like from a distance. And then like before we started recording, he was like giving ideas and stuff like that. And we're like, my mum was like, why don't you go on it? And he was like, no.
Oh, no.
He was like, no. But we managed to get my mum on it. So that was that was an impressive feat in itself. I feel like we need to work our way slowly through my whole family. I think I could easily get at least one, if not both, of my sisters on. And my dad would be the last one. Yeah. That would be I don't think you'd want to be there. That would be chaos. Do you ever see those reels on Instagram where it's like me and my siblings and then it's like all we had to say was one word and that's like and then we just laugh? Yeah, that would probably be us, really. So yeah, that's it. That's all was that a nice way to I thought it was a nice way to end it because that definitely I've had those experiences and I just thought it was a really nice way to end things. A little bit of family love. We love our families.
Yeah, we do. So yeah, that we hope that you found something wholesome and feel good and fun from this episode today.
No doom and gloom.
No doom and gloom today. Tori, if people want to share their feel good stories with you, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, like share your nice feel good stories with me, or if you want to hear a podcast with me and my siblings, please
let us know.
Come talk to me. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism, or please email me like your wholesome articles. I would love to have a look at them. If you can find any breweries that are fostering dogs, I love that idea. Would love that. You can email me those links at adventuresandoptimism@gmail.com. If you want to send Joe and I both the links, or if there's any other type of like, if you like the format of us just going and finding stories and just talking about stories that we found, feel free to share with us like what type of topics you want us to go and find stories about. You could send us what you want us to chat about on Instagram or Facebook at A Woman's Brew. You can email us if you've got ideas of what you want us to look at. Say you've got a really good article that's covering a bunch of stuff that you want us to talk about. Email that to us at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. And as usual, you can find whatever our releases are on our website at awomansbrewpod.beer. That's awomansbrewpod, pod.beer. I'm really excited. You want to follow all that stuff because I am excited for some of the episodes we've got coming up. Some of the interviews, at least one interview we've got coming up that Joe, I haven't even connected with you on yet. We will connect on after this episode. Joe, if people want to try to bring you out of homebrew retirement with a really creative recipe, where can they find you?
If you want to talk to me about maybe doing a homebrew, like we've got to find the time first. But if you want to talk to me about that, I am Love Beer Learning on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, but you'll definitely get hold of me if you find me on Instagram. You can also come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email me lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. All right, well.
The fact that I've got the rest of my beer to go drink now.
Yeah, there's a little bit left. Cheers.
Cheers.